in response to the government's comprehensive spending review, which proposes to remove 80% of state funding from higher education. The Students' Union will hold events in the run-up to the demonstration, including placard-making sessions and hosting external speakers. Union officers plan to raise a campus-wide public debate about the future of higher education. For more information on how to get involved, visit www.demo2010.org.uk. Controversial new laws introduced by the UK Border Agency mean that all students will have their university attendance randomly monitored. International students who miss 10 contact points could face deportation. Contact points are defined as daily academic activities ranging from lectures, seminars and lab reports to meetings with staff and essay hand-ins. Attendance at these points will be monitored by each department. The university will require all students to check their attendance over 12 contact points a year to avoid discriminating against international students. A university spokesperson said that both home and international students would face a faculty-student review if they were frequently absent without authorization and were making poor progress. Becky Cottrell and Charlie Paul caught up with her International Students' Union officer, Mina Kasharova, and went out on campus to find out what students thought about the new contact point system.
I think there are already other channels which you can use, and I do think that in a way it's a bit uncomfortable when you have to report to the governmental body, to the UKBA, about why a student has not been attending lectures or meeting points. If they've had a personal problem, does a governmental body have the right to know what problems they have in their private lives, or shouldn't that go through the Student Advice Centre or the support systems that we already have in place in the university and in the Students' Union? And it's a very thin ethical line that we're treading on.
I don't think it's a good idea because as an international student, when we come here, some of the modules overlap with the courses that we've done in our home countries or in our the schools that we were studying at before. So we might want to miss some lectures that's already been taught. And we want to take that time to travel because we're here in a different country. So I don't think it's a good idea.
We got international student visa to come. This visa allowed us to come to UK to have our studies. We hold Tier 4 general student visa, and I think that visa for you attending seminars and classes, lectures. So if you have got a very lack attendance, I think send international students back home. It's fair in UK, especially for the government and the people here, and I think that's actually. Yeah, fair.
And finally, everyone knows the relationship between a landlord and a student can at times be tricky. Bills, damp, blue tack on the walls. The smallest issue in a student home can suddenly explode into a huge problem. We sent Lizzie Jackson and Katie Whittaker to investigate some problems students are facing in their houses this year.
We've all seen the student digs in the young ones and felt the sweet relief of arriving to our flats in Endcliffe or Ranmore and finding it to be clean, warm and still upright. For many students, however, the reality of student housing is much, much closer to that of the BBC cult classic. Despite numerous legal sanctions and the university's own responsible landlord scheme, there are many student houses in Sheffield that fail to impress still. With over 25,000 students in Sheffield, housing can be a real problem, forcing many students to live in houses that can be accurately described as dives. Dilapidated, dark and damp, holes in the walls and creepy crawlies, they've got them all. We asked the students from Sheffield if they'd ever experienced less than pleasing accommodation or dodgy landlords.
And my heating didn't work for half a year, which was a bit annoying. Like, the quality of it was really good, but otherwise it was just really, really cold. But yeah, my house at the moment is a bit dodgy. It's not as clean as we hoped when we moved in, but it's alright.
They withheld a lot of our deposit, basically, and charged us for things that we shouldn't have been charged for. And we were pretty good tenants as well, so it's a bit annoying, but we're trying to get that money back.
I'm aware Sheffield's a very wet city, so mould is definitely a problem in most places. I personally haven't.
Yes, slugs, holes in the wall, mould.
Badlands. Yep, pretty much it.
That's all from the Forge TV news team for now, but stay tuned for the sports update with Chris Mackay.
Hello and welcome to the first sports broadcast here at Forge TV. We've got some great interviews lined up for today, including Dan Walker, Football Focus's own presenter, and Emma Bird, the newly elected sports officer. We've also got a rundown of the Bucks Championship and some local results from the clubs around the city. Firstly, a roundup of the results in the Bucks Championship. The University of Sheffield men's and second men's team won 4-2 over Central Lancashire and 3-0 over York. The women also overcome a successful game with a 3-2 win against Leeds Met. Hockey now, and both the men's and women's team came to a 3-0 and 5-0 victory against tough competition to get their first point of the season. Netball's first team also won 70-12 over York, whilst the seconds won a close fought battle with the same opposition on home ground. There were mixed results in rugby union though, with men's first and second teams both cementing victories on the opening day of the season. However, women's team suffered a disappointing away defeat against tough competition in Manchester. Now, a look at the local clubs. Sheffield United's slow start to the season continued as they were beaten 2-0 by local rivals Doncaster. Two first half goals by James Koppenberg and Billy Sharp secured Doncaster's first 3 points of the season. Now, recent speculation of a fresh takeover at Sheffield Wednesday meant media spotlight was all over Hillsborough, drawing the attention of Football Focus's own Dan Walker. As a former university student and adopted Sheffield Wednesday fan, Chris Conway spoke to the BBC presenter about his student days and how to get tips into the world of the media.
Hello everyone and welcome to Access Sport on Forge TV. We're down at Hillsborough today to talk exclusively with Dan Walker, star of Football Focus on BBC One. He's going to be talking to us about the current situation at Sheffield Wednesday, what it's like to work with Alan Hansen and Alan Shearer week in, week out, and just what he thinks it'll take to break into broadcast journalism.